Hello, Dr. Huffman from American Bariatric Centers and American Bariatric Centers Direct. This tutorial is on bariatric surgery, how to care for somebody who is going into surgery or who has had surgery and needs long-term maintenance. Many of you are bariatric surgical patients. That's why you've joined American Bariatric Centers Direct to help access some of our learning tools and low-cost supplements. So this may be a review for you folks, but for others this is new information. As with all of our other video learning modules, you'll see PDFs on this section of the website where you can download information on caring for bariatric surgical patients. So I'd like to cover some of the basic surgical processes here very briefly, but if you need more information, contact me. Have your medical director or your nurse or dietitian or whoever's working with you contact me directly, and I'll be glad to cover any details that they are missing here. So we have various surgeries, but primarily the goal of bariatric surgery is reduce the size and volume of food intake. So they're either creating a smaller stomach through a gastric sleeve or gastric bypass or adjustable band. In some cases, they bypass part of the intestine, such as in the gastric bypass or Roux to lead to a minimal malabsorption, which creates more weight loss. But it seems that we are heading more towards restrictive procedures only. The malabsorptive procedures don't seem to give us much more advantage. They are, however, very good for type 2 diabetics. We really see they're very effective in controlling diabetes with the malabsorptive process. But for simple weight loss, you just need to make a smaller stomach. So you can do that by putting an adjustable gastric band in, such as the LapBand or the LapBand. And these patients have a procedure that is reversible. This band goes around the top of the stomach, is adjusted with adding a little saline into an infusion port on the abdomen. And as the saline goes into this infusion port, there's a little band around the stomach that tightens down on the stomach, so there's less. So when food comes in, it hits that band, and you feel full sooner. The band was very popular 5 years ago. It's losing some of its popularity because of the outcomes. The adjustable gastric bands don't have the outcomes that you see with gastric sleeve or bypass. Now, that's not a problem with the surgery itself. It was our lack of aftercare. We just didn't do a very good job, particularly here in the United States, of delivering aftercare, adjusting that band and following that patient up. But if I were to have a surgery myself, I'd want the adjustable gastric band because of its adjustability, its reversibility. I really like it, but it's labor intensive somewhat afterwards to make sure that patients coming in, getting followed up with the adjustments in the band, engaging in the behavior, modification, the exercise, and all that. So we're seeing it dropping off a bit, and what's replaced it has been the gastric sleeve or the sleeve gastrectomy. And that's where they remove about 90% of your stomach. And so you just have a real small pocket. Your stomach goes from the size of a football down to a small banana, essentially, in size, so you eat less. And then the granddaddy of all of these was the gastric bypass, or the Roux surgery. And that's been around forever. That was our standard or gold standard in bariatric surgery for years. But what we're finding is that as time goes on, we're seeing the same results with the gastric sleeve as we were with the gastric bypass, so we're questioning whether we need to bypass that small amount of the upper GI tract. Now again, if you have diabetes, type 2 diabetes, the gastric bypass might have been the more optimal surgery for you. So we have gastric bypass, gastric sleeve, adjustable bands. There's other surgeries such as a biliopancreatic diversion, which is a surgery that cuts away a lot of the intestines, helps you lose a lot of weight, but there's a lot of side effects, and we're not seeing much use of that. But in general, with all these patients, they all need supplemented protein. So if you're a bariatric surgical patient, you realize this, and you're taking in supplemented proteins. The adjustable gastric bands take in about 45 grams of supplemented protein a day, plus a good multivitamin. So you take in 3 of our supplements, whether from whichever vendor you choose. 3 supplements a day generally covers that 15-gram need. Now with the gastric bypass and sleeves, they need about 60 grams of supplemented protein. Now this is protein in addition to what they're eating. So it's coming from these formulated foods, is high whey, casein based proteins that have low sugar or no sugar. Many patients who have gastric bypass just can't tolerate sugar. They get very ill. It's called a dumping syndrome, and they just can't take sugar in very well. So we have these products specifically designed for that. They're no sugar, but they're high protein, and they're not just any protein. They're a protein high in casein, which is a little more expensive, but much higher quality of protein. So if you have a bypass or a gastric sleeve, you need about 60 grams of supplemented protein a day, 4 supplements. If you're adjustable gastric band, you need 3. Now, in addition to this, you're going to need a lot of vitamins. And so we recommend that anybody who's had bariatric surgery gets a good multivitamin. But if you had gastric bypass or gastric sleeve, you might need additional calcium or iron, thiamine, B vitamins 1 and 2, 6, 12. So these things are based on, the vitamin supplements are based on the surgery itself. And you'll find those nutritional requirements filled through products that we list on our site here. So you can help yourself or your colleagues or friends who have undergone bariatric surgery supplement, save money, and get what they need. The PDF downloads that you'll see on this website will give you more information about the supplements, particular supplements they need. If they had say a gastric bypass or gastric sleeve, what are the particular nutrients, micro and macronutrients that they need to replace? So this has just been a very brief overview of bariatric surgery. I've been involved in this industry for 25 years. I've been involved with bariatric surgery for 15 years, former medical committee member of the ASMBS, first board certified bariatric physician to join the ASMBS, or the Surgical Society. I'm a very big fan of bariatric surgery. I think it's saved thousands and thousands of lives, and it's really reduced our healthcare costs because the patients who have had bariatric surgery have had less healthcare costs in terms of BiPAP or CPAP machines for sleep apnea, diabetic medication, hypertensive medications. So I'm a big fan of it, of bariatric surgery. If you haven't had bariatric surgery, you need to contact me before you have surgery. You need to talk to somebody who's independent of the surgeon to give you a professional advice, free, no cost to it. Call me up. Let me ask you some questions. Let me give you my advice. It's, I'm not going to direct you to any particular hospital. I have no affiliation with any particular hospital or surgeon. I know most of them. I know most of the surgeons around the world. I know surgeons in Mexico and India and in Cleveland and Orlando and Dallas. I know these surgeons because I've worked with them for quite some time. So if you or a friend or family member or client is anticipating bariatric surgery, contact me and I'll help them walk through that process. So thank you for watching this tutorial video. This is Dr. Kevin Huffman from American Bariatric Centers Direct.